Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really special. We are going to try to capture that absolutely electric, totally unmatched feeling of a European football night and break down exactly what makes a truly unforgettable sporting comeback. I mean, you know the feeling, right? You've been at work all day, the lights go down, the stadium roars, and suddenly you're witnessing something that defies all logic and reason. We're going to explore exactly how defeat turns into triumph and look at the exact ingredients required to literally shake the foundation of European football. Let's get into it.
Picture this. You're down by multiple goals against an absolute European giant. You're feeling utterly defeated. Your fans are dead silent, and the media, well, they've completely written you off. That was the exact situation for Manchester United back in 2019 after a devastating 2-0 home loss to Paris Saint-Germain. But then, your manager steps up and reminds you that impossible odds are really just mountains waiting to be climbed. And you know what? Climb it they did, advancing on away goals after a wildly dramatic stoppage time penalty. That relentless mindset is the absolute starting point of every historic turnaround.
So, let's look at the anatomy of a comeback and define the actual framework of a miracle.
Okay, what actually transforms a regular everyday match into a spine-tingling miracle? Basically, 4 specific things have to align to shake Europe. First up, the math. You got to be bouncing back from a massive 3 or 4 goal deficit. Second, the stage. It needs to happen when it's all on the line. You know, a semifinal or a final. Third is the sheer emotional chaos. Think hostile crowds, stoppage time drama, and real heart-in-your-mouth tension. And finally, the lasting legacy. Did this comeback actually win them the trophy? Did it define an era? When all 4 of those align, history is made.
Moving on to the impossible deficits, conquering those massive mathematical mountains.
We've got to start with the raw, brutal math of overturning first-leg disasters. The sheer mathematical improbability here is staggering. Real Madrid in 1985, losing 5-1 to Gladbach, only to pull off a 4-0 win at home. Or Monaco, completely shocking a star-studded Real Madrid in 2004. But the one that really blows my mind is Queen's Park Rangers against Partizan Belgrade back in 1984. QPR won the first leg 6-2. I mean, on paper, it should have been completely over.
Let's dig into that QPR match for a second. They strolled into Belgrade with a massive 4-goal cushion, only to watch Partizan methodically erase the whole thing in just 64 terrifying minutes. They struck right out of the gate in the 5th minute. A penalty right before halftime dialed the pressure up to an 11. Then, a massive mistake from the QPR goalkeeper allowed a long-range shot right after the break. And finally, by the 64th minute, Zivkovic headed in the final dagger. Just like that, the math was conquered.
But here's the thing, it wasn't just the math, it was the environment. Before the match even started, QPR players were literally being bombarded with coins in a wildly hostile stadium. A true comeback isn't just about X's and O's, it's about a visceral, terrifying atmosphere where 45,000 hostile fans can mentally break an opponent before the whistle even blows. QPR's own manager later admitted they were beaten an hour before kickoff, just by walking out and sampling that unbelievable electricity.
Which brings us right to drama on the big stage, stoppage time chaos, and hostile crowds.
Stepping away from just the numbers for a second, let's talk about pure, raw emotion, where the entire tide of a match can turn in a matter of heart-stopping minutes. Just look at Deportivo La Coruña playing the ultimate role of David, utterly obliterating the Goliath that was AC Milan. Milan were the defending Champions League holders. They walked into the second leg with a super confident 3-goal advantage. But Deportivo, they threw the script right out the window, scoring 3 goals in a staggering 43-minute first-half blitz. It was a complete psychological collapse by Milan and a pure adrenaline-fueled masterclass by the underdogs.
Now, if we're talking about pure drama, well, it absolutely does not get better than this 2022 masterpiece. A peak Pep Guardiola Manchester City side was leading in the 89th minute at the Bernabeu. Real Madrid were, for all intents and purposes, dead and buried. And then, a breathless blur of stoppage time chaos. Brazilian super sub Rodrigo strikes in the 90th minute. Moments later, he heads in a second to level the tie. The stadium completely erupts. City is totally shell-shocked. And in extra time, Karim Benzema steps up with a penalty masterstroke to send Madrid to the final. Just absolute pure drama.
Next up, defining eras and legacies. This is what happens when miracles actually change football history.
You see, a historic comeback doesn't just win a single match, it ripples through history, defining a club's legacy forever. Take a look at this single digit, 4.
This represents the unprecedented, historically impossible goal deficit Barcelona successfully overturned against Paris Saint-Germain during the legendary 2017 La Remontada. Before this incredible night, no team had ever recovered from a 4-goal first-leg defeat in the Champions League, but Barcelona did it, winning 6-1 on the night, completely rewriting everything we thought was possible in the modern game.
But, football's funny. Barcelona would find themselves on the wrong end of history just 2 years later. Fast forward to 2019. A completely depleted Liverpool squad arrived at Anfield needing 4 goals against Lionel Messi's Barcelona. Liverpool were down 3-0 from the first leg. Worse, they were missing their attacking superstars Roberto Firmino and Mohamed Salah. They were armed with absolutely nothing but belief, a deafening Anfield crowd, and Salah standing on the sidelines wearing a shirt with a very simple message: never give up. Everything, and I mean everything, changed in exactly 122 chaotic seconds. Substitute Jorginho Wijnaldum scored 2 rapid-fire headers in the space of just over 2 minutes. Just like that, the impossible was actually happening. Liverpool were completely level on aggregate, and you could practically see the belief just drain straight out of the Barcelona players.
And Liverpool capped off this miracle with arguably one of the smartest plays in European history. With the aggregate score tied, 20-year-old Trent Alexander-Arnold walked away from a corner kick, realized the entire Barcelona defense was sleeping, and immediately whipped a rapid genius ball into the box. Divock Origi smashed it home. Corner taken quickly, Origi. It's a line permanently etched in history. Liverpool completed the 4-0 win and went on to lift their 6th Champions League trophy, a comeback that literally defined an era.
And finally, we arrive at the ultimate miracle, Istanbul 2005.
This match is the undeniable apex of our explainer. It perfectly encapsulates everything we've talked about: the mathematical challenge, the massive stage, the drama, and the profound historical impact. It's halftime in Istanbul, the grandest stage of them all, the Champions League final. A star-studded AC Milan roster, we're talking Kaká, Shevchenko, Pirlo, and Maldini, is completely, thoroughly dominating a battered, underdog Liverpool team. It's 3-0. The game is over, right? Well, that's what the world thought.
In response, Liverpool came out and injected absolute high-speed energy, pulling off what is widely considered the greatest comeback in final history. They scored 3 unbelievable goals in just 6 frantic minutes. First, Captain Steven Gerrard heads it in and wildly waves his arms, demanding the fans get up. 2 minutes later, Vladimir Smicer hits a low strike. Suddenly, it's 3-2. The panic visibly sets into Milan. 4 minutes after that, Xabi Alonso steps up for a penalty. It's saved, but he smashes in the rebound. 6 minutes of absolute madness to balance the scales.
After surviving extra time, it all went to a penalty shootout. And this is where Liverpool's goalkeeper Jerzy Dudek employed a brilliant psychological tactic that famously became known as spaghetti legs. He wildly wobbled his legs back and forth on the goal line, trying to distract and unsettle Milan's world-class penalty takers. And you know what? It worked perfectly. He directly unbalanced legends like Pirlo and Shevchenko, making the crucial saves needed to seal Liverpool's 5th European Cup. It was without a doubt the ultimate miracle.
We've seen the impossible deficits, the stoppage time chaos, the hostile crowds, and the history-defining nights. So as we wrap up this explainer on the anatomy of sporting miracles, I really have to leave you wondering, when the stadium lights ignite the season and that famous anthem starts to play, who will step up to write the next impossible chapter of football history? Keep your eyes on the pitch, folks, because the next miracle is always just around the corner. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey, and I'll catch you in the next one.